website, and while you're at the website, take action. If you're not a member, become a member, and always give to support the movement. We're back, brothers and sisters. You're listening to the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally, coming to you live on WLIV 1190 AM in New York. We're streaming to you across the country on a number of platforms, including Facebook and nationalactionnetwork.net. We're live right here in the House of Justice, 106 West 145th Street. Call somebody. Tell them the action is on the air. Right now, please get on your feet. Put your hands together at home for the president and founder of the National Action Network, the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. What do we want? Justice. What do we want? Justice. What do we want? Justice. When do we want it? Now. 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 Fist bump the person next to you, tell them you love them. Ensemble, give them a big hand. Give them a big hand. Certainly we're happy to be with you another Saturday morning for the Saturday Action Rally. For you that are here live at the House of Justice, 106 145th Street in the Village of Harlem, and you that are listening live at 1190 WLIB AM in New York, you that are watching us on Facebook Live around the country, and we will be on in a few minutes on Impact TV Worldwide. We're happy to be with you another Saturday to give our report on where the action is. Give a hand to our presider, Attorney Michael Hardy. Our musical director, Minister Tyrone Richardson. And certainly we enjoyed that inspirational word from my friend and brother, Reverend Dr. Patrick Young. Reverend Young, Senior Pastor of First Baptist Church in East Elmhurst, has been a
very serious pastor, minister, advocate, and has come as a real pillar in our community and worked with Nan down through the years around the country. I'm glad he got the right route out of Fresno, so he got to New York. If he got lost in Fresno, we would have never had his leadership along with Reverend Johnny Green in Impact in New York. Give him another hand. Let me say we dedicate this broadcast to the memory of our brother. Few have been more, in my opinion, more important and significant to this organization and to this movement than Heru Plunkett. That's right, give him a big hand. His service, his loyalty, his diligence is something that put him in a category of his own. And he loved Nan, he loved his community, he loved this movement. And if there was a soldier that I've met in my journey, it would be Heru Plunkett that comes to mind as a great soldier. And I don't have to tell you how much we will miss him. Even while he was sick, we missed him. And now, as he has made his transition, we miss him even more. One of the things you could tell about somebody that's a real soldier is when I got the message the other morning of his death, and I started texting people around the leadership, and I said I want to put up something on our social media, and it took us all day, almost into the next day, to even find a photo of Heru, because he was not the one that would jump up in pictures. We had to find a photo of him on the side of some stuff and not dead center in front. Some folk, everything you do, they up front. They jump at the front of a march, they ain't organized, they ain't brought nobody. Let's welcome our Impact family watching all over. But Heru was a real soldier that led from behind. He built and carved. We had Brother Bligen started the Guardians, and Brother Bligen served us well. And Heru came in under Bligen and took that mantle and carved it on. And we will certainly miss him. That we're going to have his funeral services November 4th, the day after the election. At Unity Funeral Home. Viewing will be 9 to 10, and the funeral will start at 10 a.m. 127th and 8th Avenue, the Unity Funeral Home. It's a historic funeral home. A lot of great people we sent home from Unity, and we want everybody in the Nan world and the general community to be part of that homegoing service on that morning on November 4th. Let me encourage everybody that we fought for the day that we would get early voting. And early voting starts today in New York. Now I want y'all to understand, early voting don't mean you vote early in the morning, November 3rd. Early voting means you can vote today on to November 1st. If you don't vote between now and November 1st in New York, then you ought to vote early in the morning on November 3rd. If you don't know where your early voting site is, You can call National Action Network, 1-877-626-4651, and we will help find it if you give us your address. Or we have the other information here at the counter. So don't use as an excuse that you did not know where to go, because you can call us toll free and we will tell you where to go. Because if you don't vote, you may end up where you don't want to go. So vote about it. I tell all these people that tell me about, well, I don't know nothing. I'm not in that. I got some friends that I'm not into the politics. No, you into it. You just may not make a decision that will serve your interests. You got up this morning and put on some clothes. The clothes you wear, someone approved, whoever made them, to give them a license to sell them and to give them permission to have a store that was zoned in a commercial district so you could buy them. The store you bought it didn't just pop up. It went through regulations, and the regulators are elected. The breakfast you ate, the food was approved by the Food and Drug Administration. Can't nobody put eggs on the shelf that hadn't been approved. Your hominy grits was approved. Your sausage was approved. All of that is political. So don't talk about you not into politics. Just say, I'm so ignorant, I'm going to let everybody make up my mind for me. But you in it. I grew up, some folks so holy, I don't get into that. I'm just in my Bible. Your Bible was published by folk that had a publication license. And you turned on your Con Edison regulated light to read your Bible. You're not out of it. You just don't have enough self-esteem to decide that you're going to help decide who makes the decisions on your life. So don't do that cop-out stuff. Let's vote, and let's vote like we know that we are involved in the decisions that are made. A lot of folk talk about vote for our elders, yes, and we should. And they did pay a price. But also vote for yourself. And vote for your children. So I want everybody to be very mindful about early voting in New York and all over the country. I want to make several announcements. This afternoon at 1 o'clock, I'll be doing a book signing in Jersey City at the Mary McLeod Bethune Center at 140 Martin Luther King Drive in Jersey City. 140 Dr. Martin Luther King Drive in Jersey City. I'll be there signing books 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. And I want all of our New Jersey folk to meet us there. I'm gonna sign books for those that get them here today, and I'm rushing to Jersey City. Then of course tonight at 5 p.m. Eastern, and tomorrow night I'm live on Politics Nation with Al Sharpton on MSNBC every Saturday and Sunday. And we're about a week away, one more broadcast, one more live shows next week from the elections. I got a lot I'm gonna cover tonight and tomorrow night. Make sure you tune in, and then again on tomorrow night and next weekend. You that are in Chicago, I will be in Chicago doing a book signing and a Get Out the Vote rally on Tuesday. That's the 28th, I believe. 27th. I'll be in Chicago this Tuesday at the South Shore Cultural Center doing a book signing there at 12 noon with Reverend Hatch and Reverend Ackery and others in South Shore Cultural Center in Chicago. And then we're doing a Get Out the Vote rally. And then on Wednesday, the 28th, the next day, I'll be doing a book signing and rally in Detroit with Reverend Charles Williams, 12 noon at the historic King Solomon Baptist Church. So I'm trying to get the vote out, and I'm using our book also to give the reason why Rise Up. That's why I wanted the book out before the election, to try to get some of us to rise up. One of the historic connections is interested Reverend Williams, that leads our chapter in Detroit and really the state of Michigan, and is also with National Expansion, pastors the church in Detroit where I'm doing the book signing, where Malcolm X made that speech, Message to the Grassroots. Many of you, I grew up listening to that record, Message to the Grassroots. He did that speech at King Solomon Baptist Church, where Reverend Williams is the pastor, some 55 years after that speech was made. One of the things that bothers me so much, I keep talking about it, Reverend Young, is that we have allowed the so-called mainstream to, in many ways, destabilize and dishonor the black church. And a lot of our black intellectuals and a lot of our black pundits on television that got their credentials out of white institutions think it is their duty to denounce and defame black institutions. Now, we fought so they can get in Ivy League places and white institutions. I'm not against that. But don't desecrate the institutions that have been the pillars and backbone of our community. The first institution that black folk owned and controlled in this country was the black church. One step out of slavery. Our businesses, our colleges, everything that we did started in the church. And if they can get you away from your foundation, then they will get you away from where you ought to be headed. You will not go in any community and go around the institutions that are the bedrocks of that community. That's right, God. The only ones that they try that with is us, where we get tricked into try to reinventing the wheel every generation, rather than to make the wheel turn that was already working. And I say that because a lot of people are getting all messed up and confused when you see different situations don't work out. I was talking with some of my friends, I'll just put it that way, and they were saying, you know, it's interesting to me. We had one set when we were doing Trayvon 7, 8 years ago, the Trayvon Martin killing. And there was movement all over the country, and there was a set of folk out there, and they were going to be the new who-ha-who. We don't need to deal with legacy groups. We don't need to deal with this. We the new thing. And they out there a minute, then boom, you don't hear nothing about it. That's right, though. 2 years later, Eric Garner happens. And Eric Garner's mother's on her post, as always, here this morning. Give her a hand. Gwen Carter. Eric Garner happened, and right 2 weeks later, Michael Brown happened in Ferguson, and a group come out. You're right about that. Year or two later, you don't hear from that. Now, then George Floyd happened, another group come out. What I'm saying is that you respect and take seriously those that last and sustain. You cannot get liberated with going through fads. You got to get liberated by having a movement that'll last. Now, some folk got involved from Trayvon and stayed all the way through and still here. But some folk got out there, was a fad, got FaceTime, took their own picture on Instagram, and then went on about their business. While some of us had to keep on going, because we understand you don't stop till you achieve what it is you fighting for. Guys, the other day, Reverend Al, you still out here. Why you still out here? For the same reason I got out here. Yes, sir. We ain't got there yet. Why am I still here? What do you think I got here for? To put I'm going to chart some time. We here trying to establish change in this society to make it work for us. I'm going to be out here until we get that done. And that ought to be why you out here. But we get this fixation. Well, I'm going to do this 10 years. I'm going to do this 3 years. Yeah. I'm going to do this till we get some change up in here. Don't let, I keep telling you, don't let people set a wrong premise. If you accept the wrong premise, you're going to get the wrong conclusion. If people set a premise that is false, well, you just do that for a certain phase of your life, or you just need to tell people ahead of you to sit down. All that's false premise. Yeah. I tell young leaders coming up in NAN, Reverend Marshall, Reverend McMillan, and on, all these young giants growing up in Huddle, that if folk got to sit down for you to get up, then you ain't got no get up about you. If everybody got to shut up for you to speak, that means you ain't got nothing to say. If you had something to say, people are hearing you no matter who else is talking. I wish they'd give me the mic. They don't let me talk. Ain't nobody got to give you no mic if you got something to say. Reverend Al, I'm glad to see Huddle development. I'm glad to see young folk with Reverend McMillan and them. When you gonna pass the baton? Well, who passed it to me? I missed that day. Nobody passes no baton. You earn the baton. If I passed it, I can't make the next person, whoever the people will have faith in. You got to earn that. Can't nobody make you something that you not. All that food. Who gave the baton to Martin Luther King? Martin Luther King did the work. Led a boycott. Went to jail. Nobody gave no baton to Dr. King. But if you again got the wrong premise, you let these folk that ain't in the movement try to tell you what to do. I get out there and get my own name if I was you. This ain't about a name. It's about some work. If you do the work, your name will come with the work. That's why I like what Patrick Young talked about this morning. Let me tell you something. I'm going to look at that scripture another way. When he talked about how the children of Israel, first of all, you all need to understand, the Bible is there for instruction. Bible ain't there just to recite. Y'all be reciting scriptures and never dig into why is that scripture even there. You just running down quoting, most time misquoting, and never stop and say, well, what is it? Why is this important thousands of years later that it's still here? Now, when Patrick Young went through the scripture, children of Israel come out of bondage. They've been enslaved in Egypt. For the same amount of years we were enslaved in America. Let's start there. So slavery didn't start with us, and God didn't get out of the liberation business in Israel. If God supported the liberation of slaves in Egypt, then God supports the liberation of slaves in America. God is in the freeing slaves business if we got some Moses folks around. Let's stop there. So you hold the saved, sanctified folk, talk about God, I ain't in that civil rights protest. Read the Bible. Moses led a march out of Egypt. Is that not what he read? He led a march out of Egypt. He didn't tell them to just have terrorist service. He didn't tell them just anoint each other. Do all of that if you are also going, when you get up from tarrying, go and do God's business of freeing God's people. He took them on a march. Yes, sir. Now, when they got out of bondage, Patrick messed me up going there this morning. I was going to talk about something else. When they got out of bondage, they saw the adversaries. Yes, sir. They saw the enemy. They saw the Egyptians come back to recapture them. Yes, sir. Is that not what he read? But here's the part I want to go to, that Patrick was nice to y'all and went the faith route, because he was doing the inspirational word. I don't do the inspirational side. I do the get you straight side. But he read it right. In the scripture, when they saw the adversary, rather than grit up and bulk up, ready to fight the adversary, they turned on Moses. The natural first instinct of people that are caught with an enemy is they blame those that help them rather than get ready to fight the enemy. So you're oppressed. We're doubly unemployed. Can't get bank loans. Can't get mortgages. Got the worst health care. Got the worst schools. Last hired, first fight. Yes, sir. Police shooters. Yes, sir. Police killers. Yes, sir. Police harass us. Yeah. And the fault of it is historic black organizations, not those that have that oppressive system. Just like the children of Israel, you turn on Moses rather than fight Pharaoh. They turn on Moses. Wasn't there enough graves in Egypt? Why did you bring us out here to die? Yes, sir. It was better to be a slave in Egypt than to be a corpse out here in the wilderness. Is that in the book? Yes, well, that's how some of y'all think now. Yes, that's why some of y'all run around supporting folk that will keep you enslaved. I'd rather keep a system that'll shoot my brother in the back 7 times. I'd rather keep a system that'll put a knee on the neck of George Floyd. I'd rather keep a system that'll break in Breonna Taylor's house and shoot at her 20 times. I'd rather keep a system that'll have my people die disproportionately with COVID-19. I'd rather keep that system if I can keep my rap contract and get my tax break. You'd rather be a slave in Egypt. that tribe. I don't come from the tribe, I'd rather be a slave in Egypt. I come from the tribe that raised me to say, before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave. I'd rather be buried in the wilderness on my way to the promised land than to live a slave in Egypt in nice, quiet quarters. Because at least you'll bear me saying, I was on my way to be free. Sitting around with nice slave quarters. You just want air-conditioned slave quarters. Cushioned slave quarters. You don't pick cotton no more. You bounce basketballs and throw footballs. And if a runaway slave like Kaepernick talk, you look the other way. You don't pick cotton no more. You don't sing liberation songs, you rap. Call your mama a hoe and a bee. Call black intelligentsias niggers. Slave talk. You couldn't speak up, not one time for Eric Garner. Couldn't speak up, not one time for Trayvon. Couldn't speak up, not one time for Breonna Taylor. Couldn't find your voice for George Floyd. But you'll stand up for Donald Trump. Slave talk. They turned on Moses. But Moses did what you and I got to do. Don't argue with the crowd. Because you expect people that are enslaved, that many of them have been infiltrated mentally with a slave mentality. So you don't get mad at them because you understand they've been broken. Because you couldn't be enslaved long unless you were broken to feel you're supposed to be a slave. So don't get in slave arguments. People say to me, Reverend Al, what you think about what so-and-so said this week? I don't get in slave arguments. I'm trying to get them free. I'm not arguing with them. I'm arguing with their master. It ain't his fault. When we get him over the promised land, we re-educate him. We'll re-indoctrinate him. Don't waste your time arguing with them. Because they think they're right.
Yes, sir, you're right. That's it.
Moses, Patrick Young said, start talking to God.
Yes, sir.
Why? Because it was God that sent him in the first place.
That's right.
Why are you arguing with folk that didn't send you? Guy wrote an article on me the other day, was calling me, said, Reverend Al, you went through this and you went through that. How'd you do that? You got stabbed, went to jail many times. One time 90 days and all that. You shot everything at you, looked like we couldn't break you. I said, you didn't make me, so you can't break me. And as long as I know you didn't make me, I know you couldn't break me. The reason why some of y'all feel you could be broken is you're afraid of the people that you think made you. They can shoot their best shot. But if you know where your strength comes from, you can keep on going anyhow.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Donald Trump born with a silver spoon in his mouth. Daddy gave him millions of dollars before he was 12. And built a business that went into ruination over and over again. But let me show you how, if you keep living. Donald Trump, born a millionaire. Name all over buildings, all over the world. Casinos and hotels, all over the world. Had it all handed to him. Yet a black boy, born of an African father and a white mother, raised on food stamps, broken home, worked his way through Harvard University. Nobody helped him. He had to work his way through and becomes president. And every time he shows his face, it drives Donald Trump crazy. Because there's nothing worse than somebody that got everything given to them, seeing somebody that nobody gave them nothing, and they smarter than you and better than you and more confident than you. So God told Moses, keep going.
Keep going, though.
Don't tell them back up.
No.
Wait. How do I tell them keep going? Ain't nothing out here but some Red Sea. And we got some folk can't swim. I told you keep going.
Yes, sir.
Well, we got some old folk here can't swim. I told you keep going.
Yes, sir.
Well, they ain't gonna follow me into no water. I told you keep going.
Yes, sir.
I don't know where God taking me. You didn't know where he was taking you when you got started.
Yes, sir.
It ain't up to you.
No.
But if God be for you,
Yes, sir.
he will not leave you nor forsake you.
Yes, sir.
The genius of Moses, the leadership of Moses, was he didn't question God. He did what God told him to do.
Yes, sir.
Most great leaders are those that do things that don't make sense,
Yes, sir.
even to them, but they do it anyhow,
Yes, sir.
because that's what God told them to do.
Yes, sir.
When they had the movement in the 60s, it didn't make sense to go to jail. Folk was saying to their kids, are you crazy? Why are you going to jail? What are you going to sit in them lunch counters for? Why y'all going freedom riders jumping on buses? It didn't make sense. But because they did what they were led to do, they broke down the walls of apartheid.
Yes, sir.
When John Lewis and Reverend Hosea Williams and Amelia Boykin marched across the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma, only 50 people, wasn't no big rally, wasn't but 50 people behind them. And them stormtroopers came on the bridge and beat and tear gassed them. It didn't make sense. Folks sitting home watching on TV saying, I don't know why they're down there with all that voting and stuff. But because they went through that, and Martin Luther King came in and picked up the march,
Yes, sir.
and marched them from Selma to Montgomery, and a year later, they signed the Voting Rights Act. And a few decades later, a black man became president of the United States. It's folks that do what don't make sense that changes history. People teach you what makes sense to keep you contained. I want y'all to get that now. People contain you by deciding what makes sense. Well, no, don't listen to them. That's crazy. Well, if you are in an insane situation maybe crazy is what you need. Because the folk that make sense is the one got you in an insane situation. I watched the debate the other night, and I didn't watch it because I did a little commentary afterward on MSNBC, and as I was watching, what I was trying to figure out, Attorney Hardy, was how do folk listen to Trump and then vote for that? I mean, I don't understand how people listen to that and vote for it. We're in the middle of a pandemic. They come like this morning announcing that they've got 80,000 more positive. Numbers going back up. You ain't out the pandemic yet. But you got Trump up there talking about we turned the corner. What, the corner to the hospital? What corner we turned? But if you let them tell you what makes sense, then it worked for you. Here's a man sitting up here in the 9th month of a pandemic and still don't have a plan. Going having rallies and still won't tell people to wear face masks or socially distance. No sense. But if you can tell people, it makes sense. And some folk gonna vote for them. Now don't fool yourself. Some folk, that's why I don't go by the polls. That's why I'm telling folk vote early. Because let me tell you something. Some folks that's telling the pollsters they won't vote for Trump, going right in there and vote for him because they're too ashamed to tell somebody. I wouldn't admit it either. But God said, go on anyhow to Moses.
Yes, sir.
And Moses followed God and led them into the Red Sea. That's why Patrick was telling y'all what you do when there are no options. Sometimes you think there are no options because you run out of options.
Yes, sir.
Just because you ran out of options don't mean God ran out of options. I'm finished. I'm at the end of the rope. Good. Now God takes over.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes God was waiting for you to get out the way. You in the way of your own deliverance. You're in the way of your own liberation. You're in the way of your own way out of no way. You finished, you tried all you got. Now let go and let God. I remember I stood up at Patrick, I stood up at George Floyd's funeral.
Yes, sir.
And I announced that we're going to Washington. Biden III was sitting in the front row and looked at me like I'd lost my mind. Because we're not planning no march on Washington. We said maybe we talk about something, but we're not planning nothing. Attorney Hardy was here, Nan passed out. Because he said, this is crazy. This is June. How are we going to do this in 2 months?
That's right.
And if you would have asked me why I announced it, I couldn't tell you. I thought about it, but I hadn't made no plan, didn't figure out how we was going to do it, where we get the money, nothing. But somehow when your options run out, I looked at that casket under me, and I thought about that man laying in that casket. Because a man put his knee on his neck for 8 minutes and 14 seconds. And all I can think about is we need to go to Washington to the seat of government power and push a bill named after George Floyd. I don't know how we're going to finance it. I don't know where the people going to come from. But if I run out of options, God will make a way out of nowhere. And we went, and the unofficial numbers, we had 208,000 people. And no COVID-19 increase. No violence. Not one arrest. Because if you just walk to the Red Sea, it ain't your job to open up the sea. It's your job to walk to the sea. If you walk to the sea, God will make the waters back up. Because the same God that made the sea can make dry land in the middle of the sea. Somebody in here today is at the end of their options. Just keep on walking. You don't see your way out. There's some dry land ahead of your sea if you just keep on walking. I get up, work out every morning. Then I come down and read my scriptures and go through the papers. Somebody asks me why you do that, because I got to get dressed every morning. What are you talking about? I ain't talking about my clothes. I'm talking about every morning. Give me Ephesians 10, 6 and 10. Ephesians 6 and 10.
Finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord.
This is Paul writing back to the Ephesians, saying, finally, my brethren. He should have added the sisters, but go ahead.
Be strong in the Lord.
Be strong in the Lord. Now, a lot of us talk strength. A lot of us brag strength. But how am I going to be strong in the Lord, Paul?
And in the power of his might.
The power of his might, not yours. You got options.
Put on the whole armor of God.
Oh, wait a minute. That's how I get dressed every morning. Because I'm naked. I'm vulnerable. I'm weak. The system got me. So I better put on the whole armor of God. Why should I put on the armor, Paul?
That you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil.
That you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. You can't stand by yourself. You ain't got enough strength by yourself. You ain't got enough endurance by yourself. You can't hold out by yourself. But if you put on the whole armor of God, if every day you get up, you say, I'm putting on God's armor, I can withstand the wiles of the devil.
For we wrestle not against flesh and
Because
blood.
we wrestle not against flesh and blood.
But against principalities.
Principalities.
Against powers.
Powers.
Against the rulers of the darkness.
The rulers of the darkness. I'm not fighting the orange man. I'm fighting principalities. I'm fighting those in power. Go ahead.
Against spiritual wickedness. in high
Spiritual wickedness. Put babies in cages that come across the Mexican border. Spiritual wickedness. Letting folk die of an epidemic that turned to a pandemic that you were warned about. Spiritual wickedness. Calling folks homeland S-hole countries. Spiritual wickedness.
Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all to do, stand.
When you done all you could do, stand. I know your legs are tired, but stand. I know you done felt worn down and worn out, but stand. If you got on the armor of God, all you got to do is stand. I come to tell you today, some of my friends are gone. Jane Brown left, my mama left. Now my own standing bearer, Haru, is gone. But I'm going to stand anyhow. I'm going to stand. And I'm going to see the wicked cease from trouble. Stand no matter what they do, no matter what they call it. Stand anyhow.
Stand therefore,
Stand therefore.
having your loins girt about with truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness.
Breastplate of righteousness.
And your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked. And take the helmet of salvation, and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of God, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all preservation and supplication for all saints.
All right. Somebody wrote a song, what do you do when you've done all you can? Stand. What do you do when you've done all you can? Somebody, I know I'm switching up on you, but I want to hear that this morning. Somebody done been to the end of their rope. You done all you can. It seems like it's never enough. No matter how hard you try to be somebody's friend, no matter how hard you try to be somebody's mate, it's never enough. What do? You stand. What do you do when you've done all you can? Stand up anyhow. Don't give up. Don't sit down. Stand. Sometimes if you got to stand still by yourself, stand anyhow. Give me a little bit of that.
Tell me, what do you do when you've done all you can? Seems like it's never enough. And what do you say when your friends turn away and you're all alone, all alone? Tell me, what do you give when you give in your all? Seems like you can't make it through. Well, you just stand when there's nothing left to do. You just stand, watch the Lord see you through. Yes, after you've done all you can, you just stand. Tell me, how do you handle the guilt of your past?
Yeah.
Tell me, how do you deal with the pain? And how can you smile while your heart has been broken and filled with pain, filled with pain? Tell me, what do you give when you give in your all? And it seems like you can't make it through. You just stand. You just stand. You just stand. Don't you give up through the storm. Stand through the rain, through the hurt, yeah, through the pain. Don't you bow. Don't you bend. God will step in, and it won't be long. After you've done all you can. After you've done all you can. After you've gone through the hurt. After you've gone through the pain. You prayed and cried, prayed and cried. You prayed and cried, prayed and cried. Oh, after you've done all you can, you just stand.
I want you, and as we close out on WLIB, make sure you vote early this week. You that have a legal problem, don't forget Thursday is legal night, our 10th anniversary. Get the information to be online. If you have a legal problem, be part of the 10th anniversary. Certainly we thank God for Attorney Hardy with that vision now for 10 years and has helped many people. As I was watching Trump the other night, talking about his criminal reform bill, and Biden talked about how they commuted sentences. You that are here know that when Obama was in, under Obama and Biden, they commuted over 1,000 sentences. And while we were sitting there in that meeting that's on the wall here, in the Roosevelt Room of the White House, Obama said, Ramal, you and Nan start with these civil rights groups making us recommendations. Attorney Hardy on legal night would start getting papers done to commute people. And you saw a boy walk in here that had been in jail for decades. His mama had come to legal night and gave us the information, and we got it to the White House, and that boy walked through that door, got freed and commuted because of legal night and because of Barack Obama. That's why I tell you put on the breastplate. I know what I'm talking about. I ain't talking about what we think would happen. We see right here in this organization what can happen if you stand up. And if you can stand, you can make something happen. Yeah, Donald Trump done had fun with us for 3.5 years, but it's time to stand now. It's voting time this week. It's time to stand now. He can bring all of the Russians he wants. It's stand-up time. He can talk all the mess he wants. It's stand-up time. Stand up for your children. Stand up for your mama. Stand up for what is right. It's voting time. And we're going to vote this week like we never voted before. We do not allow them to desecrate what has been achieved, and we're going to keep going. And it's God would have it. When it all clears up, when the fog clears, Lloyd Williams ain't going to have a lot of fog out here. Trump going to say they stole it. Trump going to say they did some stuff wrong. They're going to have a little fog. But when the fog clears, we're going to have a man that was Obama's vice president and a black girl from Oakland, California, walking up, replacing Donald Trump, saying, after you've done all you can, after you've done all you can. Give me one more verse. Just stand up anyhow. I want Kamala to let me help her move Pence out the office and move her stuff in. After you've done all you can.
After you've done all you can. After you've done all you can. After you've gone through the hurt. After you've gone through the pain. You prayed and cried. Prayed and cried. Prayed and cried. You prayed and cried. After you've done all you can, you just stand.
Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Sing it like you mean it. Sing it like you mean it. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. Everybody's singing. One more time, y'all. One more time, y'all. One more time, y'all. I'm open the doors of the movement. There may be someone here at the rally that hears us on the radio or sees some of our work on television but never became an active member of this organization. You here today not by chance, but this may be your day to come and become a part officially of this movement, of this organization, and work with one of our committees in moving forward. If you're here today and not a member and want to step up and step out today, won't you come to me and let us sign you up to the National Action Network right now? Just come down either aisle, come to me right now. Everybody's singing. Come on. Everybody.